Hello. Hello.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Good evening to everybody. Hmm.
Good
Good
evening,
evening,
sir.
good evening,
Evening,
sir.
sir.
Good
Okay.
evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Let us start today.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, beta. Take care. Stay blessed always. So let us start today. Are you ready? Beta,
Yes,
are
sir.
you ready?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we'll discuss about theories of learning. In the first class, I have given in a nutshell regarding the theories of learning. Today I will discuss in a very different manner with that particular example, recall your memory and everything is there. Let us start. The entire four block that I have given you certain information. First of all, in introduction, you have to write.
As a good evening, sir.
Good evening, beta. Thank you. Take care. India express herself in so many languages, and your mother tongue is one of them. So, therefore, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from sea vast island Andaman Nicobar to Kashmir and Kanyakumari, the concept of psychological experiences or what we call the training experience and mental maturity, acquiring knowledge, values, attitude, and behavior, servicing like a clock for the entire human being period from mother's womb to till death. Therefore, any experiences we want to receive, it is started from our mother's womb and ends in the cradle. So, therefore, when it starts from the mother's womb and ends in the cradle, it is known as education is a lifelong process. So, in 1972, an international commission was established by the chairmanship of Dr. Edgar Farre. So, in that International Education Commission, the report named as Learning to Be. So, in the Learning to Be, it has been clearly stated that by the different think tanks, different psychologists, different educationists, coming to one of the view that education is a lifelong process. So it means each and every individual, each and every child at the time of birth bearing inherited potentialities. When these potentialities came into existence with the interaction with the society or the environment, simultaneously it gives a certain experiences that knowledge, skill, attitude, values, and behavior, which is desirable for the existence of the society. So therefore, each and every individual's activity, it must be individually satisfying. But one should, you have to remember that as a teacher, the activities of an individual should always be socially approved. It means your activities may satisfy you, but simultaneously, if it is not approved by the any society, your behavior will not be commensurate with the national development. So therefore, each and every individual's activity ought to have to satisfy himself or herself, but that must be a social approval. For that reason, human being is known as a social animal, having a thought, having an attitude, any omission and a commission conducted by the human being, thereafter the rectification is there. So hence, these particular facts bearing one principle or one theory by which we can able to receive the experiences, training with commensurate of the mental maturity and so many things. That's known as your theories of learning. It means learning theories. There must be certain principle by which we have to develop our sense of responsibility, acquiring our knowledge, develop our values, attitude, interest, even if sometimes we have expressed our ego in a different form. So you have expressed in a different ways. In the last class, I have given you one example that each and every human being has a need. It may be innate, it may be in an expressive way. So when the need is fulfilled, it leads to the state of happiness. When the need is not fulfilled, it leads to the state of unhappiness. When this unhappiness deep rooted in the minds of an individual for a longer period, it leads to the maladjustment, or what we call is known as, it creates certain conflict. When there is a conflict, it is very difficult for the human being to accommodate and adjust all these things. So conflict, there are three types of conflict: positive, 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 negative, and negative, negative. It means approach, 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 avoidance, and avoidance and avoidance. Take one example of this conflict: approach and approach. You just take one views that on the last day of your age bar, you have a direction from the government with the appointment letter that you have to join on this date. Otherwise, you won't get any government job. This is the last date of your joining of the government service. And the same day, unfortunately, any of your parents, father or mother, they are in the hospital. That they are in the last stage. So both are important for your life. Your parents is just like a god in the last stage. So you have to attend. In the left side there is an approach also. If you won't join, you won't get any government service forever in your life. So this type of conflict is most important, is known as approach conflict. Both are positive. You cannot sustain living one. It is very difficult to leave one. So during this time, there is a great tension in the human being how to avoid this particular conflict. That's known as approach conflict. Next, we come to approach avoidance conflict. In approach avoidance conflict, the problem which is less important, the matter which is less important, the values which is less important, the image which is less important, the work is less important in comparison to another. So human being wants to leave this conflict. जैसे ये हमारा वैदिक में लिखा है, सर्वना से समुत्पन्ने अर्धे त्यजन्ति पंडित. It means whenever there is a problem, you have to leave your 50%. That known as approach and avoidance conflict. And third one is avoidance and avoidance. When the conflict came into being, both are less important, both are not related to your life, both are creating the problems, both are giving the tensions, both are having, it's a very difficult. तो क्या करूं इस वजह से सो आम आदमी ने क्या करा, तो दोनों को छोड़ दिया. It is better to leave both of the avoidance and avoidance. In this case, if you will give this example in a better way, that in case of the marriage of the younger generation, so both are, here is a service, sorry, my dear students, those that belongs to girl student, they won't feel anything. So in case of a both are whenever a marriage is arranged marriage or love marriage, one side there is a service holder, another side is a distance places. So both are positive. क्या करूं? So it is very difficult to leave it. The second long run, the approach avoidance, कुछ थोड़ा कमी है उसे जान दो, छोड़ दिया जाए. तो थर्ड मैन, when there is a no such है, ठीक है उसे जान दीजिए, we leave it. All these things will go for the next proposal. So this is known as your conflict. So when these conflict came into being, human being wants to adjust in a different way. That's known as defense mechanism. It means adjustment in a very different way. Suppose somebody has failed in different examination in a particular service sector. If you ask certain things, कि कितने बार अटेम्प्ट लिया, वो बोला कि भाई साहब मैंने 50 बार 5 बार अटेम्प्ट लिया. तो क्या हुआ? तो बोला भाई साहब ये ठीक नहीं है, लीव इट, और एक कहीं मिल जाएगा तो ठीक रहेगा. This is known as your projection. This means defense mechanism. The innate ability, the inherited desires, when it is not fulfilled, human being wants to satisfy by saying like this is known as projection. So in this context, the theories of learning divided into different categories. One is based on the behaviorism. Write down, beta. Write down. Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Write down. One is behaviorism. Second is Gestalt. Third is cognitive field theory. Fourth is information processing theory. Fifth one is computer based theory in digital India. Okay. Behaviorism, Gestalt, cognitive field theory, information processing theory, then computer based theory in digital India. Okay. Say okay, beta. We'll start it.
Okay, sir.
Hello.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Let us begin.
Okay, sir.
From ancient India to digital India, human being wants to live in a very peaceful manner. Human being wants to provide a better education to their child. They will take care of the child till the last breath. So in this context, I want to give you an example from the ancient India. When the people wants to live, during that time, the individual wants to live near the river side. Therefore, our all the civilization named as Indus Valley civilization. So it means in the near the river. So why people prefer near river? It is only due to that they will get the food, water, everything is there in free by which they can maintain their life. When the time changes, human being wants to establish with a particular uh, plot of land or a place of land where they can maintain their life. Even if in time changes, human beings wants to have a plot nearby the road, nearby the national highway, or nearby the road where there is a community or a connectivity by which they can able to send their children for a better education and to live happily. Again, time changes. Human being wants to that अरे भाई साहब मुझे एक प्लॉट और एक घर खरीदना है. कहाँ खरीदना है बेटा? अरे भैया कहाँ खरीदना है? देखिए एक भुवनेश्वर में हो सकता है, पुणे में हो सकता है, बेंगलोर में हो सकता है. क्यों इतने दूर क्यों जा रहे हो? It is only because when there is a information technology, the facility of the information technology, human being wants to settle there. From ancient India to digital India, in the changing time, human beings needs, aspiration, values, and attitude is changing from time to time. So similarly, in case of the behaviorism, the ism refers to the theory of behavior. It means function of an individual in the context of environment and the basis of the stimulus and response. SR, it means connectivity. So in base of the connectivity, in the baseline of the connectivity, one of the psychologists known as E.L. Thorndike E.L. Thorndike has developed a theory on the basis of a principle that known as puzzle box theory. It is experiment conducted by a hungry cat and fish with a puzzle box. A hungry cat has been kept in the puzzle box and some fish outside. So in the puzzle box, whatever the attempt has been made by the cat to come outside and take the food, the entire attempt is known as random behavior. So at least the last long run, the cat able to open the door. And similarly, the more the attempt, the less will be the error. So even if in the changing time, when you will put the cat, immediately the cat has a particular notion or ideas that this is the place by which it will give a pressure, then the door will be open. So any attempt, more and more exercise, more and more attempt, there will be a less error and mistakes. So human beings have a practice needs for stimulus and response. It means in that environment, your behavior in that particular environment, there must be a certain stimulus or question or answer like that. So it's known as connectivity. It's known as yield fundraise, known as a, trial and error theory. The more trial by the child, the less error will come. So take one example. There was a time when we are reading in class 4, having the alphabets from A to Z. So slowly, the errors will come immediately. You can able to write. At present, if I will call you, if I will request to have a count from 1 to 100, it is very easy for count from 1 to 100. But if I will tell me, beta, from 100 to 1, it's thoda sa difficult. It is only due to it needs practice. We have no such practice for that particular ways. So therefore, practice makes a man perfect. The more the attempt, more the rectification, that there will be less error. So in the behaviorism, your activities must be commensurate with the work by which the less error will come and you will success in your attempt. That's known as your behaviorism. In the second long run, another psychologist known as B.F. Skinner. B.F. Skinner has developed another theory known as operant conditioning. So one conditioning theory has been developed by John Pavlov with that milk powder saliva with a dog. It means the more conditioning theory is known as, let us explain here with the conditioning theory first. So John Pavlov conditioning theory is based on when a neutral stimulus acts like an original stimulus to get back the original response is known as conditioning. इसका मतलब क्या है? A experiment conducted by a dog. Dog has to provide milk powder. At the time of providing milk powder, there will be saliva coming from the dogs. So before coming the milk powder, there is a light or the footstep of the servant. So the dog is so addicted with that sound and the light, even if milk powder doesn't come to that time, but if light and sound, he will start salivating. जैसे एक एग्जाम्पल होता है, जस्ट एवरीबॉडी सिटिंग देयर, इतना बड़ा अचार उसको खोल दिया जाए तो क्या करूं बेटा? डेफिनेटली देयर मस्ट बी saliva in our mouth. It is very obvious. So it may not be a practice or acquainted with the things, but the dog has been acquainted with that particular light and footstep of the servant by which the salivating starts. So here is Pavlov says that any neutral stimulus refers to the light or the footstep of a servant. Any neutral stimulus acts like an original stimulus. The original stimulus is known as the milk powder. So when the light or the footstep of a servant acts like a milk powder, so when the neutral stimulus acts like an original stimulus to get back the original response, that original response refers to saliva. So when the light or the footstep of a servant acting like a milk powder to get back the saliva, that's known as your conditioning theory. It means when a neutral stimulus acts like an original stimulus to get back the original response is known as conditioning theory developed by John Pavlov. So in conditioning theory, what happened in case of educational implications or the role of the teacher, if you can adapt this Pavlov's conditioning theory, it's very easy for a teacher to eliminate bad habits and develop good habits. Take one example. Suppose a child doesn't want to go to the school. Every day, if you will provide one chocolate to go to the school. So when the child is acquainted with the school, the time will come when the child doesn't matter for the chocolate or without chocolate. If he or she is acquainted with the school, that practice will continue. So when there is a conditioning theory, opposed to that, It's eliminate bad habits, develop good habits. This is known as Pavlov's conditioning theory. It is also a stimulus and a response in between the two, by which the conditioning or practice makes a man perfect. The third is known as B.F. Skinner. One of the noted psychologists, B.F. Skinner. Mr. B.F. Skinner has developed another experiment is known as operant conditioning. What happened in case of all EL Thorndike? Trial and error. In case of Pavlov's, there must be a conditioning, the condition or acquaintance with the things. But in case of the operant conditioning, it gives emphasis on unless and until human beings have a trial to get back the things, nothing will happen. It means, first of all, it developed the experiment on a pigeon. It's known as pigeon box theory. A food is there, but a pigeon has to give a first attempt, then the food will come. It means each and every activities of the individual that must leads towards the goal. If you take an attempt, you will get back the result. So that's known as your operant conditioning developed by B.F. Skinner. So in behaviorism, the ism refers to theory or the principle. The principle is based on there must be a relationship, SR, stimulus response. There must depends upon the practice, makes a human being perfect by conditioning or acquaintance with the thing. And third is known as there must be a first attempt from one side, therefore the things will be right. But not always it is not successful. When sometimes attempt is there, accident will occur. Something, or it may happen in a different way. If you want to propose something, it may be negative or it may be positive. So in certain operant conditioning, for the attempt ought to have to taken by the human being to get back the result. So this is all about your behavior regime. The principle which is based on the function of an individual in the context of environment by most of the trial, less mistake, more the practice or acquaintancy, it leads to success. And third is by V.F. Skinner, the attempt made by the human being to get back the result. Clear, beta? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next. Next theory is following is known as Gestalt. What do you mean by Gestalt? Gestalt. Gestalt. It's a German word. It means configuration. It means shape, akar, configuration or the shape. When Gestalt is a German word or configuration, it refers to configuration or shape, then how it will be considered as of the learning theories? In the behaviorism, we have developed the relationship in between the stimulus and response within this organism. But here in Gestalt, the shape or configuration, the main focus on perception. It means the human being to judge a thing as a whole, not in a part. For example, nearby Ravensa University, if you can ask a child, what is this? Definitely the answer will come, Ravensa University. Nobody will say that here is IGNO Study Center, here is a hostel. No. So human beings judge a thing as a whole, in spite of the division of the buildings. The division work in the different aspect. Whatever human beings on the basis of the perception, the result will come. This is known as Ravensa University. So therefore, in Gestalt, human beings wants to judge a thing as a whole, not in a part. The second example is, suppose you are with the excursion with the children, there must be a train line. So if you will ask the students, what is this beta? They will say it's a train line. But exactly the iron, the particular pole is there, they are having a very space, narrow space in context of the scientific and science development of science and ଛାଡ଼ିଦେମୁ କ୍ଲାସ୍ କରୁଛି ପରେ କଥା ହେବି ऑनलाइन क्लास अछि हेलो हेलो सॉरी बेटा हेलो
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
हेलो
Yes, sir.
सॉरी
Sir.
सिर्फ एक
Yes,
टेलीफोन
sir.
आया तो प्रॉब्लम हो गया बेटा
Okay, sir.
अच्छा ठीक है सो each and every uh, each and every human being wants to judge a thing as a whole not in a part so in this context our perception is important in which way you are looking at the things sometimes there is a proverb जे in which way you have to perceive a thing किस दिशा में आपको ये लग रहा है कि ये सच्ची है ये झूठ है ये सच्ची है ये झूठ है ये प्रॉब्लम है so human beings gives answer ठीक है my perception is like this so in case of the observation in case of the analysis in case of the perception our intuition works very well even each and every human being having a intuition having a power of observation have a power of analysis but on the basis of their own effort it means to choose to see the future to predict the future therefore in learning to be in 1972 in international education commission it is written that we cannot predict we can predict the future but we cannot predict the plurality of a future so it is very clearly written we can predict the future but we cannot predict the plurality of a future so therefore we have to perceive a thing as a whole not in a part so perception is important and perception is one of the important components by developing their own mental maturity by interacting with their own mental maturity due to the advancement time environment age mental maturity we can able to perceive a thing in a different way sometimes you may say there was a mistake due to certain things no that mistake is only due to your perception, your receiving capacity, your motivation, your attitude, your values, your acquiring knowledge, your information, altogether the analysis will be in a different way. If any false information has given to you, and if you will decide or take a decision on the basis of a false information, so naturally the decision will be different. It is definitely a mistake. So on the basis of the information, if it is true, it is based upon the fact. So definitely your decision will be correct, no doubt. So you have to perceive a thing as a whole. Take one example of a judge. So whenever the honorable judge uh, in his own chair, when honorable judge delivered the justice, within a very small span of time, the honorable judge perceived the content, the area of submission, the contention, the citation, everything, all on a sudden to perceive a thing and deliver the judgment. So during that time, you will argue that when the 5 plus 3 is just 8 with the honorable judge, why it is differ in case of the administrative people, those are dealing with your file. Naturally, the perception capacity of the dealing assistant in your file, they have developed a negative thought. They won't have any positive sense. ତେଣୁ ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଆମର ଅଛି it may not be desirable to say ଆମର ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ ଅଛି ଯଦି କେହି ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କ ଭିତରୁ ଥିବେ ସେଇ ସେନ୍ସରେ ମତେ କ୍ଷମା କରିବେ ଆମର ଗୋଟେ ଅଛି କଥା ଅଛି ଯେ ଆଜ୍ଞା କିରାନୀ ହାତରୁ ଖାଇଲେ ମଲା କଇଁଛ ଉଲ୍ଟି ପଡିଲେ ମଲା କଇଁଛ ହଉଛି ଆମର 10 ଅବତାର ଭିତରେ ଗୋଟିଏ ସେ ଭଗବାନ ସଦୃଶ୍ୟ ସେ ଯଦି କଇଁଛ ଏତେ ବଡ ଯିବ ଯଦି ଜଷ୍ଟ ଉଲ୍ଟି ପଡିଲା ତାହେଲେ ସେ ଆଉ ତା ପୂର୍ବ ଇଏକୁ ଫେରି ପାଇବ ନାହିଁ ଇଟ୍ସ ଭେରି ଡିଫିକଲ୍ଟ ସେ ପୂର୍ବାବସ୍ଥାକୁ ଫେରି ପାରିବ ନାହିଁ ସେମିତି ରହି ତାର ଡେଥ୍ ହେଇଯାଇପାରେ ଯଦି ସେ ନ ଓଲଟିଲା ଠିକ ସେମିତି ଯେ କିରାନୀ ହାତରୁ ଖାଇଲେ ମଲା so any clerk having their negative mind in such a way that without respect, without bribe, it's very difficult to have a work. So therefore, I am my contention, my submission before my students that when 5 + 3 is equal to 8 in the judgment delivered by the honorable judge, why this is different in case of the dealing accident? It is only due to they have developed a negative thought. In this context, let us come to our own Odia culture. Akhay Mahantinkar गोटे गीत थिला से गीत रे से लिखिथिले जे भुवनेश्वर किरानी बर मागुची पटपटिया आपण मने पकेबे सेते बेले से केबे कहिनी कटकर किरानी बर राउरकेला किरानी बर संबलपुर किरानी बर बलांगीर किरानी बर बा कलाहांडी किरानी बर तार अर्थ होची दोज बिलोंग्स टू भुवनेश्वर से फटपटिया माने सेते मोटरसाइकिल को जाउतला तान ड्यूरिंग दैट टाइम समानकर एटीट्यूड एया थिला से एटीट्यूड एबे मध्ये सेया अछि they have developed, you have come across so many things that if you will approach a particular fact you are presenting before a fact, before a clerk, I may excuse that I don't have any right to criticize all these things. It is just on the basis of the example I am giving. They have developed such a negative thought, they won't perceive a thing as a whole. Probably they won't get any scope for the Gestalt psychology. Therefore, these problems came into each and every human being. Am I right, beta? Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I have come across so many experience in that line. So it is on the basis of example. So Gestalt see a thing as a whole. So the next story
Sensory,
about.
cognitive.
Oh, the light টা মার দেন দিয়ে বা
Hello?
the light টা মার দেন
Yes, sir.
Hello, beta? Any problem?
No, sir. No, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello,
No,
beta?
sir. No,
Is there
no,
Sir,
sir.
please
No, sir.
continue.
No problem.
Sir,
let
continue,
us
Yes,
please.
sir.
start?
All are okay.
ठीक है. Third is known as cognitive field theory. What do you mean by cognitive? According to John Piaget, a developmental theory on the basis of the experiment, on the basis of the research finding, John Piaget said that each and every child having 4 stages to develop their own cognition or cognitive or intelligence. So intelligence is one of the things by which it will differ from one person to another. Why that? How this intelligence term came into being? Once upon a time, I have given that example. Once upon a time, a king is there. King has ordered certain people that you have to count the stars in the sky within this particular pipe. इस पाइप में जितना स्पेस है तो जितना स्पेस में वो स्टार आपको दिख रहा है you have to count the star. So number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 people are just counting, but it will differ one person to another. So during that time, king thought that what happens? Everybody is counting, but the number is not the same. So here is the term came into existence that there must be a difference in intelligence. At a time of counting, it is different from the intelligence. Another example I want to give you, a king has ordered a particular servant, जाके देखो ये जो प्लेस है इसमें क्या क्या हो रहा है. एक बार हो गया और फिर आके बोला कि एक डॉग ने 4 बच्चे को जन्म दिया. ठीक है. दूसरी बार ने किंग ने बोला अरे जाके देखो ये कौन कौन है. वो देख के आया, फिर बोला 2 व्हाइट और 2 ब्लैक. फिर थर्ड टाइम चला गया और बोला 2 फीमेल और 1 मेल. फिर चला गया और क्या है और क्या देखने का. तो 5 बार आने का जो टाइम चला गया. सो किंग ने सोचा लेट अस सेंड अनदर पर्सन. So he will go send another person, go and see the things. That person will come, sir, एक डॉग ने 4 बच्चों को जन्म दिया, इसमें 2 ब्लैक और 2 व्हाइट है, 2 मेल है और 2 फीमेल है, अभी तक सब ठीक है, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. So you can see the difference between the intelligence of the individuals. So therefore, cognitive field theory, it refers to that your intelligence ought to have to apply in the practical field. If your education, if your learning, if your knowledge, if your attitude, values, and behavior will not reflected in the practical way, in the particular place, so it has no meaning at all. For example, a doctor having a gold medalist in surgery, but at the time of operation theater, his doctor's hand is trembling. So it lacks a practice. So therefore, intelligence is something different, confidence is something different, but confidence leads to an accident. But it is only the intelligence can save the individual by developing certain confidence, how to make intelligence into practice. So when the intelligence will be used in a practical field, take one example of a engineer. If one engineer having a bad design, 10 or 15 or 100 or 200 people will die, no doubt. Okay? It is only due to certain problem, accident occurs. So it is only due to the intelligence of the individual. So therefore, cognitive field theory, it implies that the intelligence of an individual, it may be teacher, it may be doctor, it may be scavenger, it may be scavenger, it may be engineer, any field, any hello, hello, hello,
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
क्या बोल रहा था हाँ so it is only due to the faulty intelligence accident will government will declare जैसे कुछ होता है उसके इंक्वायरी बैठेगा ये सब लेकिन मेरा ये आपको एक सुझाव है एक एडवाइस है if there is a faulty engineering design the accident will occur and so many people will lose their life but if a teacher will say ମୋର ଗୋଟିଏ କୁକୁର ଅଛି my is a dog it will continue for the 14th generation the entire society the entire life the entire scenario the entire future of the child will be dark. So in this context, a teacher is known as a social engineer. So any teacher having a different approach to teaching learning process, any wrong, any mistake committed by a teacher, if will continue forever, the entire society will suffer for 14th generation. So therefore, cognitive field theory, it implies that the intelligence of an individual, it may be teacher, it may be doctor, it may be scavenger, it may be engineer, any field, anywhere, the work must be perfect with the application of the intelligence of the human being, which we call it is a one of the step for a nation building, by which we can able to achieve our national goal, what we have already promised in 1950 in our preamble. So therefore, cognitive development theory developed by John Kutlwin, it means each and every human being has a problem. So when the problem is arises, each problem having a solution. So there must be a solution. It is backed by your own intelligence on the basis of the presence of your mind, taking into account of the environment. So anything. So above all, considering the situation, so you have to solve the problem. So Kutluin said, the problem solving attitude is the most important attitude of an individual to solve the thing. And problem solving attitude and Kutluin's cognitive field theory, it is only applicable to the sales personnel. Sometimes salesperson are having a wrong selling, giving a different information, wrong information that is known as wrong selling. So salesmanship, it depends upon the cognitive field theory. It means application of your own intelligence in the particular field to convince the particular customer, or you have to explain the thing or perceive a thing as a whole, not in a part. So taking into example of the behaviorism, cognitive field theory, and gestaltic view, you can able to solve this problem. This is one of the theories of learning. Clear, beta? Any more problem?
No, no.
No, sir.
Hello.
No, sir. No, sir.
Yes,
No,
sir.
sir. No, sir.
Next, information processing theory. Information processing theory in 1972, it was developed by Atkinson and Atkinson. The information processing theory deals with how human beings learns and remembers. So in context of the behaviorism, gestalt and cognitive field theory, in information processing theory, how human beings learns and remembers. So Atkinson, they have a experimental design known as information processing model. In information processing model, they have already cited that each and every individual's mind is just like a computer. Their eyes and ear will be considered as a register. So in the brain, there must be a long-term memory house, one short-term memory house. So let us explain the experiment or the design by which you can able to understand the theory of information processing in learning theories. First of all, each and every day you have come across so many informations in the form of image, in the form of words, in the form of sentence, in the form of news, in the form of print media, in the form of electronics media, in a different form. So all the information that you have received within these 24 hours, it's very, very difficult for a human being to remember all these things. But one thing, that the most important thing, किसी को स्पोर्ट्स इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, किसी को शेयर मार्केट में इंफॉर्मेशन इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, किसी को म्यूजिक इंपॉर्टेंस होता है, किसी को पॉलिटिकल आइडियोलॉजी पॉलिटिकल इंफॉर्मेशन इंपॉर्टेंट होता है. So it varies from person to person on the basis of interest and attitude. So therefore, any information which has been received by our own eyes known as on the basis of the image or on the basis of hearing certain words. By these two ways, we can register our information. Let us take example. So whenever you are teaching in a classroom regarding Taj Mahal, most of the students, they are unable to move to the Agra to see the Taj Mahal. But your explanation, your attitude, your presentation in the classroom is such a way that each and every students able to create an image of the Taj Mahal by viewing this picture. This is Taj Mahal. They have developed one image. Now here is Taj Mahal, belongs to Agra, built by Shah Jahan in the memory of his wife Mumtaz. Everybody knows it since class 5th, 6th, 7th till date. Okay. Second example. Suppose I will tell you, just remember a telephone number. So you have to hear it. That must be registered in your ear. That is 809320121116. So you just remember it. So two things have been registered. One is the image of the Taj Mahal has been registered in the eyes of every students, and by hearing this telephone number that has been registered. So immediately after registration, it comes to your mind is known as long-term memory house. So in between long-term memory house from register to long-term memory house, there must be RB, real cell buffer. It means which is more important, which is most interesting for you, which area you have interested, that particular information or the images that has been stored in your mind, that comes to RB, real cell buffer. You say in drama and opera, the dialogue has been repeatedly it is known as the real cell. So on the basis of the real cell, everybody has practiced these things, then deliver in the stage. So automatically in the human minds, that has been RB, real cell buffer. It means the image of the Taj Mahal and the telephone number, or so many informations. Out of these informations, which were very much important for you, which are being a interest for you, that has been RB and come to long-term memory house. So after that long-term memory house, automatically it comes to short-term memory house, the storehouse, short-term memory house. In the next day, when the teacher will ask in the classroom, where is Taj Mahal? Immediately they will say it is in Agra. Most of the students will reply Agra. Some students unable to utter the name of the city Agra, and they were like jiva agare achi mor man padnai. That was actually tip of the tongues. Second, somebody asks, please tell me the telephone number. Somebody will say 8093201216. Somebody will say 890212. So there must be error and difference of the individual. The question is that if one teacher is saying or presenting one things for everybody, if one teacher is presenting a particular picture for everybody, the image has been created by the child in a different ways. Why? Human beings forget. Unable to reproduce, it means retrieval. Retrieval in the case of image, retrieval in case of words, or the remembering the telephone number. The reason is better if, remember, if the images has been orderly or sequentially organized, or any information has been sequentially organized, जैसे कि 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this, and any information which has been stored in the minds of an individual in a very systematic way, then it is easy for retrieval. For example, if you can store your own learning material in a very systematic manner, it is very easy to get back the things. At present, in our digital India, it is a very bad habit for each and every people, where the things we will take up will never pick up the things. Suppose somebody is saying that, अरे भाई साहब स्टैपलर लाना, स्टैपलर जोठी आनिबे सेठी स्टैपलर थोइबे नाही. आजिकली पिलांकर एटा होची सबुठारु बैड हैबिट. जोठु जो जिंस नेबे सेही जगह रे रखिबे नाही. फल रे फैमिली रे अनेक समय रे कॉन्फ्लिक्ट हेता है. मु कोन कहबा को चाहूची आपण माने समस्त बुझी पाउथिबे. It depends upon the systematic arrangement of the things by which your life will be easy. You can apply your intelligence very quickly. You can solve your problem very quickly, and it is very easy for the human being to do in the best sequential manner. Take one example of a kitchen. If in a kitchen the systematic arrangement is there, your work will be finished within half an hour or 1 hour. If it is a distracting way, it is very difficult for a particular person to complete the work within this time. This is the most important. Time is money. If you say, यदि मते कई पचारंती आपण भगवान को देखिचंती, समस्ते कहिबे जे नाई हमें कई भगवान को देखि ना हूं. भगवान को सत्ता अनुभव करचंती. Yes, you can feel the existence of God. But if somebody will say that, have you ever seen God? I will say yes. People will say that it's a madman. कोई भी तो भगवान देखने ये कौन देखचंती? Yes, I have seen. कौन आपण मन रे प्रश्न हबो, मु बोधे उत्तर देबी मोर बापा और मां. ए तो समस्तक पई. आपण पई पेरेंट्स आपनकर गॉड, मो पई पेरेंट्स मध्य गॉड. जो पेरेंट्स ड्यूटी के आसंती सेठी गेस्ट नहंती, पेरेंट्स होचंती गॉड, नो डाउट. बट अनदर मोस्ट इंपोर्टेंट थिंग इज टाइम इज गॉड. समय ही भगवान. जे समय को भगवान हिसाब रे गणा करिचंती, से जीवन रे फेल्युअर हे नांती. This is my own experience I am telling. So time is the greatest healer. Let the time be pass. It will bring everything in order. Therefore, in information processing theory, by learning, your information must be in a systematic manner. So if you have a systematic or sequential organized manner of the information or the matter or anything, it is very easy for the human being to retrieve, to remember. Then the question is that if it is organized in a sequential manner, why human being forgets? It is only due to lack of interest, due to lack of systematic organization, due to lack of knowledge, values, attitude, your behavior, and above all, to judge a thing as a whole, not in a part. It is the most important thing. By actually, it is very difficult for the human being to retrieve all these things. This is all about information processing theory. Clear? Clear, beta? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Complete best theory in digital India. In digital India, at present, our hands, our legs, our eyes, everything is based on the information technology. So unless and until we are unable to become a computer savvy, it's very, very difficult for a human being, for the existence, for the accommodation, for the adjustment in the future life. So the next important learning theory is that a computer-based theory, it means each and every child must have to learn the fundamentals of computer. If somebody say computer कौन କରୁଛନ୍ତି ନା ମୁଁ କମ୍ପ୍ୟୁଟର ଶିଖିଛି ସ୍ପିଡ କେତେ କହିପାରିବେନି ଡିଟିପି ବାଡେଇ ପାରିବେନି ସମସ୍ତେ କମ୍ପ୍ୟୁଟର ଶିଖିଛନ୍ତି ଯଦି ସମସ୍ତେ କମ୍ପ୍ୟୁଟର ଶିଖୁଛନ୍ତି ତାହେଲେ ଏତେ କମ୍ପ୍ୟୁଟର ସେଣ୍ଟର ରୋଡ ଉପରେ ଚାଲୁଛି କେମିତି କେମିତି ଚାଲୁଛି it is only due to that we have no such interest regarding the things. So one of the most important learning theories known as computer learning theories. It means you have to learn the fundamentals of computer by way of application, not only theory. The application of the computer in this digital India is one of the learning theories for the nation building to achieve your goal and for sustainable of your kind of sustainable of your own aspiration, your lead, and above all, to save this world. Today is known as World's Earth Day, to save your earth. Today is declared by the international level, today is Earth Day. You have to take a promise that you have to save your earth. This is known as your Earth Day. So in this context, your learning theories is the most important known as behaviorism, gestalt, cognitive field theory, information theory, and computer-based theory in digital India. Okay? It's all right, beta. Can you able to write? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you able to write if any question will come in this context?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll meet you again. I have seen the name Chipra Dalai in Ibnika Sahu, Ritanjali Sahu, Chipra Dalai, Ashok Sahu, Bajanti Dhar, Bhagyasri Sahu, then Devasis Dungri, Dipti Rangia Mamali, Dipti Rani Behra, Gayatri Naik, Gayatri Sahu, Gitanjali Sethi, Jyotiranjan Sahu, Jasnamai Singh, Kurtika Chinu, Kumar Gaurav, Dipirani Patra, Lakshmanjari Mahanti. So many there. Thank you very much. Take care. God
Thank you,
bless.
sir.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Thank
God
you,
bless
sir.
you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, beta.
Hello? Hello? Sir?